The Path of the Samurai, Episode 3. The Temple of Fire. The Path of the Samurai is a solitary road, often winding into places forgotten by the world. It led him now into the high mountains, a realm of mist and ancient peaks where whispers traveled on the wind. They spoke of a temple, a sanctuary of discipline and spirit, now fallen into shadow. Rival warriors, men who served only chaos, had overtaken its sacred halls. The whispers said the temple was burning, its secrets desecrated, its monks either slain or scattered. As the sun bled across the horizon, casting long, skeletal shadows across the land, the samurai approached. The rumors were true. Smoke billowed into the twilight sky, curling like immense, dark serpents. The acrid smell of burning wood and something far worse filled the air. Flames licked at the temple's ancient frame, painting the heavens in terrifying hues of orange and red. A profound weight settled in his chest. It was not just a temple burning. It was a betrayal of everything the way of the sword was meant to protect. His rage, the fire he had long struggled to contain, now threatened to become an inferno. He drew his katana, the steel humming in the heated air. Tonight, he would not just fight, he would carve justice from the very heart of the fire itself. He stepped across the threshold, into the maw of destruction. The temple groaned around him, a dying beast. Inside, a chaotic ballet of fire and shadow played out across collapsing beams and scorching tatami mats. The air was thick, suffocating, a mixture of smoke and the coppery scent of blood. Warriors, their armor glinting like obsidian in the firelight, turned to face him. Their eyes were wild, fueled by the same destructive madness that consumed the temple. They were not soldiers. They were jackals, feasting on a sacred corpse. The first rushed forward, a guttural cry tearing from his throat. The samurai moved like a phantom. There was no wasted motion, no flourish, just a single fluid arc of its blade. The warrior's charge ended abruptly, his lifeblood spraying across a painted screen of tranquil mountains, now spoiled and ruined. Another lunged from his left, spear tip aimed for his heart. The samurai spun, a whirlwind of cloth and steel. His katana sliced through the man's chest, the sickening crunch of ribs cracking, echoing over the roar of the flames. The man stumbled backward, a look of disbelief on his face, before toppling into a pit of fire, his armor quickly turning cherry red. The fight became a brutal choreography of death. A swordsman brought his blade down in a heavy, overhead strike. The samurai parried, the clang of steel ringing out like a death knell. In the same motion, he reversed his grip and drove the tip of his katana upward beneath the man's jaw. It was a vicious, grotesque end, splitting his enemy's skull. He didn't pause. He kicked another attacker with crushing force, sending him staggering back into a burning support pillar. The man's screams were terrifyingly sharp, a sound of pure agony as the fire embraced him, his flesh sizzling and blackening in an instant. Sparks and embers rained down like a hellish snowstorm. He moved through the inferno, a dealer of death amidst the ashes. One by one, they fell. He ducked under a wild swing, his blade coming up to sever the tendons in his opponent's legs. As the man fell, the samurai's follow-through was swift, a final, merciful stroke across the throat. The temple had transformed into a grotesque theater. The sacred halls where monks once chanted sutras now echoed with the clash of steel. The screams of the dying, and the crackle of insatiable flames. Blood mixed with ash, turning the floor into a dark, slick paste. The air was a toxic cocktail of smoke, sweat, and death. He was no longer just a warrior. He was an extension of the destruction, a spirit of vengeance given form. He fought his way deeper, toward the heart of the desecration. There, in the main prayer hall, silhouetted against a backdrop of collapsing walls and towering flames, a single figure awaited him. This was no common soldier. His stance was perfect, his presence a vortex of controlled fury. It was the rival samurai, the leader of his sacrilege. Their eyes met across the fiery chamber. In the rival's gaze, he saw a mirror of his own rage, a burning hatred that sought to reduce the world to cinders. His blade gleamed, catching the firelight, appearing as if it were forged from molten steel. Without a word, they clashed. The impact was thunderous, sending a shower of sparks into the swirling smoke. It wasn't a duel, it was a storm, a tempest of fire and steel. Every strike was a bolt of lightning, every parry a peal of thunder. The rival was skilled, his movements precise and deadly, but the samurai was fueled by a boundless, unrestrained rage. His cuts were wild, powerful, driven by the burning injustice he felt. He roared, a primal sound of fury, as he slashed and stabbed, pushing his opponent back, step by step. He was no longer thinking, no longer strategizing. He was pure, unadulterated anger. He broke through the rival's guard, his blade slashing across the man's chest. The rival staggered, and the samurai lunged, his katana finding its hold. The rival's eyes widened, the fire within them finally extinguishing as he crumpled to the ground, his body quickly consumed by the encroaching flames. His screams faded, swallowed by the roar of the inferno. Victory. He had won. But as the adrenaline began to recede, a different sound reached his ears. It was a cry of terror, not of a warrior, but of the innocent. He looked around, truly seeing his surroundings for the first time since he entered. The temple was collapsing, the fire raging out of control. And trapped within the burning rubble, he saw them. Monks, the very people he had come to save. Their robes aflame, their faces masks of horror as their sanctuary became their tomb. His rage had been a blinding veil. In his quest for vengeance, he had become the very instrument of the destruction he sought to punish. This victory was a complete and utter failure. It had cost the lives of the innocent. The strength fled his body. His katana, suddenly impossibly heavy, slipped from his grasp and clattered to the floor. He dropped to his knees, his chest heaving, gulping down the toxic air. He stared at his hands, covered in soot and blood. He saw the face of the rival. His own fury reflected in the man's dying eyes. He saw the terrified faces of the monks. He had vanquished his enemy, but what had it accomplished? The temple was gone. Lives were lost. He had allowed the fire within him to burn just as wildly as the fire consuming the temple, and in doing so, he had become no different from those who reveled in chaos. He was just another destructive force. He bowed his head, the weight of his actions crushing him. A single, hoarse whisper escaped his lips, lost in the roar of the flames. If I cannot master my own fire, I will never master the blade. The flames danced in the tears that now streamed down his soot-stained cheeks, a reflection of his own inner turmoil. This was not the path. Rage was a weapon that burned the wielder as surely as it burned the enemy. In that moment, amidst the ashes of his failure, amid a vow, he would temper his rage, forge it not into a weapon of blind destruction, but into a tool of control, of focus, of true balance. Dawn broke over a landscape of ruin. The great temple was now a smoldering skeleton, a charcoal monument to a night of fury. From the ashes, a lone figure emerged, scarred, weary, but resolute. The samurai picked up his katana. As the first rays of the morning sun touched the steel, it seemed to glow with a faint, eternal light, as if the inferno itself had tempered it anew, imbuing it with a different kind of strength. He sheathed his blade and began to walk. The path ahead was long, his journey far from over. He now understood that the road to legend was paved not just with the strength to defeat one's enemies, but with the discipline to conquer oneself. Mastery of the spirit was the true test. Subscribe to continue the samurai's path to legend.